Have you ever asked why countless Americans are drowning in debt while China has created over 1 million new millionaires in the last 2 decades? The truth might catch you off guard and clashes with everything we learn about money in America. While we flaunt fancy cars and designer labels, the Chinese follow a totally different path. They focus on what I call silent wealth, quietly building fortunes without fanfare, without excess, and most importantly, without debt. Even Warren Buffett learned these tactics by studying his Chinese partners. He discovered they use ancient but highly effective strategies that deliver financial security and steady growth. You're about to uncover all 7 Chinese money secrets that can transform your financial future, no matter where you're starting. First up is the principle that has produced more millionaires in China than any other: silent wealth. This concept springs from the Chinese idea of Kai-En, the god of wealth. Over the past 2 decades, China's millionaire ranks have exploded. Instead of showcasing their riches, they accumulate it discreetly, letting their bank balances do the talking. When someone like Buffett takes notes on their methods, it deserves our attention. There's no complicated financial wizardry here, just a handful of time-tested rules that make protecting and growing your wealth almost inevitable. One core teaching of Kai-En runs counter to Western culture. True prosperity isn't about displaying your fortune, it's about safeguarding and multiplying it. A common proverb says "Kai Bu Li," which means never reveal your prosperity. This isn't about being stingy, it's about being strategic. Look at billionaire Jack Ma. You rarely see him parading designer outfits or exotic cars. His focus is on reinvesting in ventures that compound over time, rather than blowing cash on assets that lose value the moment they're purchased. Think about your own spending. How many purchases have you made just to impress others? That $60,000 luxury vehicle that instantly lost $10,000 in value? That $5,000 watch that tells the same time as a $100 model? That oversized house in the popular neighborhood that stretches your budget to its limit? Every dollar you spend chasing status is a dollar that can't work toward making you truly wealthy. This wealth secret is straightforward and actionable. Before your next purchase, pause and ask yourself, am I buying this because I truly need it, or because I want others to see me with it? That single question has guided countless Chinese millionaires. They may appear ordinary, but their net worths are extraordinary. It's not about denying yourself, it's about choosing genuine wealth over its illusion. So if the wealthy Chinese aren't wasting money on flashy status symbols, where do they put all that capital? That leads us to the second secret, a financial habit so powerful it reshaped an entire nation's wealth in a single generation. And unlike most financial advice you hear, it has nothing to do with finding the perfect investment. The second wealth secret highlights the power of a saving mindset, the tradition of handing out Hong Bao, those red packets stuffed with cash, and the cycle that turns discipline into prosperity. In the United States, the average person only saves about 3 to 5% of their earnings. Contrast that with China, where people routinely set aside over 36%. Consider that for a moment. For every $100 you make here, you might tuck away 5. In China, they're banking 36 or more. And these aren't just the ultra-wealthy, they're everyday earners. This gap isn't random. It springs from deep cultural roots, centered on those Chinese New Year Hong Bao. To most Westerners, red envelopes seem like simple gifts, but they're actually mini lessons in financial restraint. From the moment a child receives one, the message is clear. Don't spend this now, save it for something important. That early habit embeds a mindset that treats saving as second nature. By high school graduation, many Chinese teenagers have substantial nest eggs, while their American counterparts often begin adult life under student loan burdens and a habit of impulse spending. The result? One culture champions delayed gratification and long-term money planning, the other pushes instant gratification and spending for status. In real life, this looks like Americans chasing the image of wealth, cranking up credit cards and financing to live large now, even if it means borrowing against next month's paycheck. Meanwhile, the Chinese model is all about building wealth over time. Put savings first, then spend what remains. That flip in priorities leads to vastly different financial outcomes. To adopt this in your own life, embrace what I call the red envelope rule. Whenever you receive income, whether it's your regular paycheck, a bonus, or any extra cash, immediately allocate a slice to savings before touching a single penny. Treat that portion as off-limits for daily expenses. You can start small with 10% and gradually aim toward the 30 to 40% saving rate common in China. So how do they keep from drowning in debt if they save so aggressively? That brings us to the third wealth secret, a principle so ingrained in Chinese financial ethos it may seem radical in a credit-driven culture. Secret number 3, debt is bondage. In Chinese, they call it chongbuai, literally, the poor must not borrow. Your approach to borrowing often determines whether you'll build wealth or get trapped in financial quicksand. In the United States, using credit cards is routine, and financing cars, furniture, or the latest gadgets is considered normal, leading the typical household to carry over $6,000 in card debt alone. In China, fewer than 1/5 of people regularly use credit cards, and most only buy major items like homes or vehicles when they can put down at least 50% up front. That's not a matter of credit availability, it's a mindset. Embracing these two principles, saving aggressively and viewing debt as a last resort, can revolutionize your financial future. Ancient Chinese financial insight warns that relying on money you haven't yet earned carries massive risk. You're essentially wagering that every tomorrow will go your way, and we all know life often throws curveballs. When you borrow cash, you're not just covering the sticker price, you're shouldering the original sum plus interest. A $35,000 car quickly balloons into a $42,000 obligation once financing kicks in. A $44,000 furniture collection can turn into a $5,200 expense when you stretch payments across 3 years. Every single dollar you pay in interest is a dollar you could have invested, building your own wealth instead of padding your lender's account. To put this wisdom into practice, stop the financial bleeding immediately. If you're carrying high-rate debt, make its elimination your mission before you even think about that next big purchase. Pause and ask yourself, do I genuinely need this now, or am I just chasing instant gratification? Remember the Chinese mindset. If you have to finance a consumer purchase, you simply cannot afford it yet. But steering clear of debt is only the beginning. True Chinese wealth builders play a far longer game. They're not fixated on next month's payoff, they're mapping out their finances decades or even centuries ahead. This fourth secret is all about adopting that extended horizon thinking. In many Western households, conversations revolve around the next vacation or the car upgrade. In China, people plan on a 30-year timeline. Their approach, known as Jifeng Income, literally accumulate and safeguard wealth, teaches that money should be gathered, protected, and cultivated over generations, creating a legacy that lives well beyond your own life. Consider the contrast. While a majority of American families end up squandering their fortune by the second generation, countless Chinese lineages preserve and multiply theirs for centuries. The difference doesn't come down to luck or superior intellect. It boils down to deliberate planning. Chinese parents involve their children in financial decisions, teach them smart money habits, and prepare them to not just defend but expand the family's assets. Shift your own perspective from single-generation gain to multi-generation stewardship. Rather than viewing cash as yours alone, see it as a resource you're temporarily entrusted with, meant to be handed off in even better shape. Start making choices today that benefit your kids and grandchildren. Acquire income-producing properties, build a family business, and always think in decades, not days. That's how you turn your earnings into an enduring dynasty. Most importantly, teach your family about money, because a fortune that nobody understands will never survive. At the same time, Chinese households balance that long-term vision with a razor-sharp focus on everyday expenses. That brings us to our fifth secret, a spending control system built on smart decisions, not deprivation. Secret number 5, how the Chinese eliminate waste in their spending. Picture yourself unknowingly tossing away hundreds of dollars each month. Sounds unreal, right? Yet, the real threat to your wealth isn't how much you earn, it's the money you spend without thinking. In America, impulse buys are almost celebrated. Sales, installment plans, and credit cards make it too easy to grab things you don't truly need. The Chinese counter this habit with a guiding principle called GG, intelligent frugality. That doesn't mean cutting corners at every turn. It means demanding real value from every cent you part with. Each purchase must prove its worth over the long haul. If it won't add lasting value to your life, you simply walk away. That's why many affluent Chinese families cook at home instead of dining out at high-end restaurants. They drive reliable, modest cars rather than flaunting luxury models. They choose comfortable but sensible homes over sprawling estates. It's not about denying themselves, it's about directing funds toward assets and experiences that appreciate over time. A revealing study discovered that Americans drop about $5,500 each year on impulse buys. That's $500 every month that could have been invested, potentially growing to more than $115,000 after 10 years of compound returns. By contrast, the culture of frugality in Chinese homes channels spending away from fleeting pleasures and toward building enduring wealth. Ready to put this into action? Start with the 24-hour rule. Whenever you feel the itch to buy something non-essential, pause for 24 hours before you pull the trigger. This simple cooling-off period helps you decide whether the item really deserves your money. Then sort every potential purchase into one of 3 buckets: necessities, investments, or desires. Necessities are essential for living. Investments deliver future returns. Desires are nice-to-haves. Before you hit buy, ask yourself where it belongs and if it advances your long-term goals. Now, with your spending dialed in, how do you keep track of every dollar? That leads to our 6th secret, a budgeting method so effective it has guided thriving Chinese businesses and families for centuries. Secret number 6, the Chinese budget, how to plan your money like a master. If you don't know where each dollar goes, how can you expect to grow your wealth? Most people simply hope there's money left when the month ends. The Chinese do something different. They use a system known as Jiang Ben, which literally means accounting book. This is more than a budget, it's a full blueprint for financial expansion. For generations, Chinese families have logged every source of income and every expense, making sure each dollar has a clear mission and destination. This disciplined approach keeps funds from going to waste and makes sure every dollar has a mission. Families, companies, even entire dynasties in China have relied on this practice. Local shopkeepers there record every single transaction, so they always know exactly where their money goes. No one ever gets surprised by vanishing expenses. Contrast that with budgeting in the West. Many people in the United States have only a vague idea of their monthly spending. Their budgets, if they bother to make one, rest on rough estimates instead of real figures. Leftover cash often sits in low-interest checking accounts with no clear purpose, inviting wasteful purchases. In China, by contrast, budgets are drawn up in precise detail and updated frequently. Every yuan is earmarked for something meaningful. No purchase happens without a plan. Any amount set aside is immediately reinvested or held for a specific target. Studies repeatedly show that individuals who track their expenses are twice as likely to hit their financial milestones. While a lot of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, the Chinese make sure that each cent works strategically. You can adopt this method by creating your own version of the traditional Jiangben. Grab a notebook or a finance app and jot down every cost. Classify each expense as essential, investment, or discretionary. Your aim is total transparency in your cash flow. Assign a purpose to every inflow, so none drifts aimlessly. Allocate 50% of your income to basic needs: housing, food, transportation. Set aside 30% for savings and investments and reserve 20% for personal enjoyment. Review your ledger each week. Small tweaks will prevent any spending category from spiraling out of control. Once you've mastered this level of planning and discipline, the real game changer kicks in. How top Chinese entrepreneurs supercharge their wealth beyond what most people imagine possible. This leads us to the seventh and arguably most powerful principle: strategic financial alliances, or GUI. If you lost your entire fortune today, how fast could you rebuild it? The secret lies in forging the right relationships, connections that money alone can't buy. In China, wealth creation isn't just about stacking cash, it's about growing a network of trusted contacts that consistently brings new opportunities. A single strong connection can introduce you to an investment partnership or business venture you'd never uncover on your own. Deals aren't based on a quick handshake, but on trust built over years. Many affluent Chinese entrepreneurs help one another so that opportunities always circulate within their circle. By contrast, networking in the United States often feels transactional and short-lived. People swap business cards chasing immediate gains without laying the groundwork for long-term trust. The mindset is more individualistic. Many try to win on their own. In China, networking is a continuous, strategic process rooted in reciprocity. Helping someone today means they'll support you tomorrow. Ideas and opportunities flow freely through the network. One solid relationship can become a lifelong partnership. Research shows that about 70% of major career moves and business deals arise through existing connections. To leverage this approach in your own life, start building relationships now, long before you actually need any favors. Networking must be an ongoing effort, not a last-minute hustle. Small acts of assistance today could transform into game-changing opportunities down the road. Build a robust network by surrounding yourself with individuals who share your financial aspirations. Seek out mentors and partners who can offer guidance and open new doors instead of simply requesting favors. Make sure you bring value to others too. When you help someone now, they're far more likely to help you achieve even greater success down the line. Having uncovered these 7 powerful Chinese principles for quietly accumulating wealth, it's time for the ultimate test. Which of these insights will you begin applying today? If you've stuck with me this far, you're already ahead of the pack. Now it's your turn to move from theory into action. Let me know which of these 7 strategies you're going to adopt first and why. I read every single response and love seeing your wins. Also, on a scale of 0 to 10, how impactful do you find these principles? Your feedback helps me deliver more of the content you need to level up your financial journey.